ברשות קהל הקדוש, everybody welcome. בעזרת השם ברכה הצלחה. יורי דיכקנוף, שבעזרת השם תצליח בכל דרכיך. Thank you for sponsoring the שיעור. וגם תברך את יעקב בן אשר, שהוא able to continue doing עבודת השם, הוא וכל משפחתו, וגם את הקריל דניאל בן מיכאל, שיזיווק הגון בשנה הזה, וגם ניסים שלום, שהוא get married בעזרת השם, to אשת חיל. וכל המשתתפים, whoever is being part of the shiur and coming to shiur, we really appreciate it. We gonna say לעילוי נשמת כל הנפטרים ונפטרות, ומפרט כפיר, ביבס, אריאל, ושירי, הקדוש ברוך הוא, רוח השם תנחנה בגן עדן היא וכל השוכבים עמה בכלל רחמים והסליחות וכן יהי רצון ונאמר אמן. We continue with our פרקי אבות. אולם יש קינה שיהיה טובה. We talked about in the פרקי אבות that we said רבי אליעזר הכפר אומר קינה ותאווה וכבוד מוצאים את האדם מן העולם. Kina, which just means the jealousy, v'ta'ava, desires, v'kavod, which just means respect. Mutzim et ha'adam min ha'olam. A person would lose his share in the world to come. Ha'ta'ava ze olech achar ta'avod lebom lema'achal u'mishteh. The desire a person has, he goes according to his heart to eat and drink. O b'mamon, or in the money. V'ta'avad nashim, or desire for women. שזה נאמר כי הלה רשע, תלה רשע את תאוות נפשו. A wicked person who fulfills his desire through his nefesh, which just means his lowest part. וכן אמר נפש רשע אותו רע. Says the soul of the wicked person is bad. כבר נאמרו בתורה במדבר. It says in the Torah in מדבר 11:4. והספסוף אשר בקרב תאוות תאווה, נאמר, הבשר עודנו, בין שניהם טרם יכרת. So the Chazal says the Am Israel looking for the basar, for meat, inside the desert. ואף חרה השם, ואף השם חרה בעם, ויח השם באב מכה רבה מאוד. So Hashem was very sad and upset. What is that? ויחר אב השם. Chara, which just means that he got so upset and mad. Ne'emar vayikra el Hashem hamakom kivrot ha'ta'ava. The Chazal says, the desire of the person, that's where his grave is. Ki sham kavru et ha'am mitavim. Where they had the desire, that's where they were buried. Hagaon Magid Miduvna b'Sefer Ohel Yaakov, Magid Miduvna says following. אלא כיוון שערו אנשים את מדעה של התאוות, a person sees, and the people in the desert saw so much desires that they have. יתעורר להם למשוך ידיכם ולהימנע מן התאווה. They don't want to stop doing, have desires, they will continue having desires. כי משפט אדם, הבורח מאש, מתלקח. He says it's like a person running away from the fire. לכן נקרא המקום קברות תאווה. Why is it called קברות תאווה? Which just means the burial where they have the desire or want. עצמו נקברו שם. לכן מתאווה למשכב נשים. The Chazal says if a person wants to go all the time, have relationship with a woman, זקנה קופצת עליו, he's getting quick, older, חלאים רעים רבים באים עליו. All the sicknesses would come to him. כמו שכתוב רמב"ם, and this is the famous Rambam by the way, פרק ד' הלכות דעות הלכה י"ט, in a chapter 4 הלכה 19. זה לשונו רמב"ם. שכבת זרע של האדם ממנו בא כוח הגוף. He says the power of the semen of the person, that's where the strength comes from. מאור עיניים, he says the eyes, the vision of the person comes from his semen. וכל תצא ממנו ביותר, a person, the more he sleeps with other women, and the more he does it, הגוף קלה, the body becomes deteriorated, weak. כוחות תשש וחייו עובדים, his life becomes lost, and he will perish. כמו שנאמר שלמה, משלי, שלמה says in the משלי, 31:3. Al titen lenashim chelecha. Shlomo HaMelech says, do not give your power to the woman. What kind of power do I give? Kol hashotef babiliya zekena kofetzet alav. A person, the more he does with the woman and he goes with other women, the faster, older he gets. The older he gets. Kochot tash ve'enav kohod. He says his power becomes diminished and his eyes becomes weaker. Ke'evim rabim ba'im alav. More sicknesses will come and more pain come to him. Amru chachmei rofim, echad me'elef metu bashar ha'cholayim. 1 out of 1,000 died from regular sicknesses. Elef mirov tashmish. 1,000, most of the population dies from relationship with other women and from his own woman, but he does it so much. Amru chachamenu b'Shabbat. Masechet Shabbat in page 152 says, ala pasuk Kohelet in 11:10. Ki hayildod v'shachorod hevel, dvarim adam oseh b'yildato. Chazal says, whatever a person does when he's young. Piresh Rashi, Rashi says, rov tashmish, when a person is young, which means he's teenager, he have with other women, or the other way he does, mashchirim panav le'et ziknato, his face become black when he gets older. Metashesh kocho, what does it mean his face become black? It becomes weak. כתב הרשב"ץ בספר מגן אבות בשם נבחר פנים, שהוא בשל לקנאה וחמדה. קנאה, which means jealousy, וחמדה, which means desire. היא התאווה, it's a desire. כי הקנאה וחומד פוגע בשטן. A person have a desire and a jealousy and want, he says, Satan, he gets control of him. אמר להם, יבקש אחד מהם דבר. Says, ask me one thing. נותן לו, I'm going to give it to you. וחרביו יותנים כפליים, והוא לא רוצה קנאה ויבקש תחילה. He says, whatever you're going to ask from Satan, there's more people going to come in. Mordechai, there's more people going to come in. You're shouting the light. Maybe they want to have a dinner like you. So it says, הקנאה וחומד פוגד בשטן. יבקש אחד מאחר דבר נותן לו, לחברו ייתן כפליים. So it says a jealous person, he says, for my friend you give me 1, for me you give me 2. לא רוצה קנאה לבקש תחילה שיהיה מתקנא במה שיתנו לחברו כפליים. Says, for me you give me 1, for my friend you give double. דוח החומד את הקנאה לשאול תחילה, ושיש שנקרו לו עיניו אחד. A jealous person, what he says, if my friend, first you take my eyes, for my friend you take 2 eyes. Right? וכן אמרו במדרש קהלת העולם הזה. מדרש קהלת says in this world. משל לכרם מלא ענבים. He says, let me give you משל, that the vineyard has a lot of what? A lot of ענבים, a lot of grapes. הוא סוגר מכל סביב בגדר. What he does, he puts everywhere גדר, which means fence. He puts around the vineyard fence. עבר שואל ורואה מרחוק את ענבים ותאווה להם. So the fox passed by through the grape vineyard, and he has a desire for it. אך לא מצא פתח להיכנס דרכו ככרם. But he cannot enter the fence where to enter. He cannot. כי המחר חוט קטן צר מאוד. He found a little hole, and he went through that hole inside the fox. מה יעשה? צם ימים רבים. The fox, he was fasting a lot of days in order for him to enter the hole. אשיק כחש בשרו, until he became very, very skinny. נכנס דרך חור של הכרם. He went through the hole of this vineyard. ואכל ענבים כנפשו שווה. He ate the grapes the way he wanted. אך שקרבו ימי הבציר, פחד מאוד, בעל הכרם פן יהרגנו. He says he was so afraid, he said the vineyard owner will come in and he will kill the fox. ביקש לברוח משם, לא היה יכול לצאת. Now he want to come out from the vineyard, he cannot come out. Why? עד אשר צם ימים רבים שב לרזות כבתחילה. So again he needs to fast in order to become skinny, in order for him to go through that hole. He went back now. ויצא דרך חור אשר דרכו נכנס, The way he entered the hole, that's the way he came out from the hole. יצא עמד גבוה אחד ואמר כרם, כרם כמר, מה נעים מותקים פירותיו? He says, כרם כרם, which just means the vineyard, vineyard. מה נעים מותקים פירותיך? He says, what is the point for you to have such a beautiful fruits that is so sweet? אך מה נאה יש ממך? What is the beauty of yours? כשם שיכנס אליך כחוש ורזה כך יוצא ממך דל ורזה. He says, the way I enter inside the vineyard, that's the way I came out. What is the point for me? כל אומת שבו כך ילך, כך הוא העולם הזה. Says, this is the way this world works. וכן בתאוות ממון, same thing, desire for money. אוהב כסף לא ישבע כסף. Chazal says, love money, would never be satisfied with money. Never. כאדם צמא, שותה מים מלוחים, כך ייגבר צמאוננו. He says, the way a person drink the water that is salty, the more he drinks, the more he wants to drink. התאווה בכלל איש נבהל להון. He says, the desire one, a person is always collecting and collecting. תאווה לממון, desire for money. כסף לזכב כל מחשבותיו. All day he's thinking gold and money, all day. מעשה אדם אחד שיהיה הוטיב עצים מן היער בכל יום. There's one man, he says he was chopping woods every day. That was his job. He was chopping woods and bringing it to the city and selling to the people. לצורך פניו היה נושאים על כתפו רבים עיר בזעת אפו. He hated this job. He was chopping woods from the forest and he was bringing it to the city. He was hating this job. למוכרם לפרנס והוא בנו בני ביתו. He says him and his kids were having parnasa, whatever his father was working. והיום בתקופתו תמוז. It was the time of the Tammuz, one of the hottest months. היה רב כבד. אחר שחטב עצים נעשה חבילה בים אל העיר. נתעייף מאוד. He says in the חודש of Tammuz, he brought a lot of chopped woods to the city from the forest and was very tired. וינח והתחיל לבכות על קושי יומי. And he started crying what kind of hard day that he had. ועל מי גורלו? He says, why me? Why me? Why מר גורל? Why me? מרוב בכייתו נרדם אצל חבילתו. Because he was crying so much, he slept next to his the chavilot, which just means the bundles of wood. ויחלום, he started dreaming. שבוק לקראת נהר נחמד יפה עיניים. And all of a sudden he sees in his dream, a beautiful young gentleman comes to him. ביד שרביט זהב. In his hand is a chain, golden chain. ויאמר לו, ראה את דמעתך ואשמע כל תפילתך. He says, I hear your tears and I hear your davening, praying. ואתה שאל ממני שאל ואמלך שאלתך. He says, ask me anything and I will give you whatever you need to have. ויאמר שאלתי בקשתי שכל דבר אשר יגיע בי יהפך להיות זהב. He says, anything, the guy asked, anything that I would touch, everything is supposed to be turned to the gold. ויען הנער ואמר לו שהוא שוחק מחייך. דבריך היה כי אם יקום. Says, whatever you ask me, whatever you're going to touch, everything becomes gold. Oh, Rav Moshe says, whatever he could not eat, whatever he wants to eat, cannot eat. ויגע בשריד אשר בידו. He says, touch my golden chain, whatever the wish that you have is going to be happening. מיד נעלם ויקש לנסות דבר בעלמו. ויגע בעץ חבילות עצים אשר הטה בזעת אפו. He started, when he woke up from his dream, anything he touched, all of a sudden, he touched the little wood chops next to him with the anger. He touched it, it became gold. It became gold. והפך לעץ זהב בכפו. And everything became gold. ויגע בכד חרש של המים בחוץ. Now we see the water is outside in a bucket, water. He touched it, the water became gold. וישמח מאוד, he was very happy. Anything he touched became gold. ויאמר בחלומו את עני ואת יגיע כפי רואה את אלוקים ויכח אמש. He says, whatever the HaKadosh Baruch Hu I daven in tears, HaKadosh Baruch Hu grant my davening and my tears. מעתה לא אמלא את ביתי עוצר זהב. He says, now I could fill up my house with a full of gold. שכל אבן ועפר גני אדמה. He says, anything that I touch becomes gold. ויקח בידי יהפכו לזהב ויקום בו עופרת זהב. שהלך ואכף הרצפה, דרכב לזהב. He says, when he started walking barefooted, his shoes became gold. רם ונישא כל המלאכים נכסים עשירים גבירים. He says he became one of the biggest rich person. בהיות ששש ושמחה בחלמו. He was very happy in his dream. הרגיש שהוא צמא מאוד. Now he's very thirsty. Like Rav Moshe says. כחום היום, וישדהו בחלום, אל הכת אשר על ידו, שנגע המים בפיו. Now he wants to drink water. The water became gold. מאהב זהב. יוצאים בפיו, אז הרגיש בכסלותו תאווה אשר תאווה בשילתו. But he asked for Hashem. Anything that I would turn, everything I would touch, turn to the gold. ויבכה בכל מעט בחלמו. He's still dreaming. And it's everything in a dream. Now he starts crying in his dream. מה זאת עשיתי? He said, what did I do? כי מעתה כל מה שירצה לאכול לשתות מיד שיגיע בשפתיי. He says, anything I able to drink, I able to eat, everything יהפוך להיות זהב. Everything became gold. אם כן, מה אוכל, מה ישתה? He says, what can I drink and what can I eat? בלעדיהם אין לי חיים. He says, without drinking and eating, I have no life. והחשיב עוד שנראה זה טעמו שנאה לשחק בשמו את השאלתי. So when he said, I want to be rich and I want to have a lot of gold, everything that I touch, I want to have a gold, everything became gold. שעדיין שהשכלתי לשאול דבר שהוא רק גדולה אליי. He says, I did not realize whatever I asked was bad for me. אז התעורר האיש והנה חלום ויראה כי חבילות עצים כולו ידו. He says he saw the wood that he chopped, the bundles is next to him. כד המים מנוח אצלו, and the water was also next to him. ואז נפחו עיניו, when he woke up from the dream, ואמר בליבו, הנה חלום זה ראיני לא טוב תערומות אשר תירמתי עליי, על עמלי. He says, whatever I have, whatever Hashem granted me, I say thank you to Hashem. כמה רע יהיה תאווה לכסף וזהב. He says, how much bad when a person has so much money and so much gold. שכל התאוות אדם הבל ורק מעשה תעתועים. Says everything a human does, everything goes for nothing. איזה עשיר ושמח בחלקו. He says, who is the rich person that happy what he has? נכון. התאווה, a desires, כולל ריבוי מאכלים אדם אוכל בכל עת. Oh, this is our topic. That you say, how come you speak to us on Shabbat the way you speak to us? Look what it says over here. It says, the more person eats, and every time he eats. There's nothing wrong by eating, but every opportunity he looks, he eats. What's the problem? Ma baya. What is the problem? שאין לו זמן קבוע לסעודתו ואכילתו. He does not have a designated time when he eats. Every opportunity he finds, he eats. אלא כל זמן שלא פירות מגנות השם עם תאווה לעיניים. Every time he sees a beautiful something, he eats. אוכל מהם כנפשו סובה והם יכולים להביא אליהם מחלות שונות. Says the way the person treats himself, the more sicknesses he gets. What kind of sicknesses? כתב הרמב"ם. Rambam says following, הלכות דעות, הלכה ט"ו. פרק, chapter 4, הלכה 15. אכילה גסה לגוף כל אדם היא מקור לכל החלאים. He says a person eats whether he cannot eat no more. He says this is where the sicknesses starts from. Rambam is the biggest doctor. Forget about the doctors now. I'm talking about a lot of doctors, not most of it. It's all money-making machine. The Rambam does not want to make money on you. He's giving us advice. He says most of the people get sick from overeating. What is considered overeating? I'm eating, I'm full, no, I want more. I want more. That's called overeating. ורוב חלאים באים על האדם אינה אלא שהוא ממלא כרוסו. Says because he fulfills himself too much, ואוכל אכילה גסה, he cannot feed it no more, but he's stuffing, shoving. אפילו מאכלים טובים, even a good food, healthy food, he says. בכלל מה שאמר שלמה המלך. The following says King Solomon. משלי 21:23. שומר פיו, says watch for your mouth. לשמר מצוות נפשו. says be careful for your soul. ולשונו שומר מצוותו נפשו, כלומר שומר פיו מלאכל יותר מדי. שלמה המלך says be careful, do not overeat. שומר מצרות נפשו, you're going to keep your neshama from the becoming pain and suffering. וכן שתיית יין ושכר משחית נפשו, he says same thing, a person overdrinks, become drunk. וכן אמרו במשלי 23:29. למי אוי, למי אבוי. He says למי to who, אוי ואבוי. למי מדנים, למי פצעים חינם. מאחרים על היין לבאים לחקור ממסכה. He says everything that person is drink and eat and overdrink and becoming drunk. Says oy vavoy to that person. מסכת סנהדרין דף עין. כמה אנשים שהיו להוטים אחר משקה, לחלוכו במידה רבה, מתו פתאום. He says מסכת סנהדרין דף עין. Says how many people do you know that died from the heart attack? Says a lot. You know what's the cause of it? One of the cause of it, he says, from drinking over and eating from over. So we today in our day say the reason he has a heart attack, stress. The Chazal says one of the reasons is the heart attack is over drinking and overeating. He says most of the doctors say that was the reasoning. He says because they're so attached to the food and drinking. You have two desires. You have two ways of desires. A good desire and a bad desire. We just talked about the bad desire. Like we sit sometimes in a Shabbat, for 40 minutes our mouth be running. 40 minutes? Wow. 50 minutes. Anything will come out, we just grab it. What about neshama? No, just keep eating. No problem eating. Listen, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes. Like to eat also. But there's a limit where and how long to eat. And he says over here, the Rambam, Tava, Emnam Tava Tova Lerabot Mitzvot Maasim Tovim. You have another desire? How much can I desire for mitzvot or maasim tovim? That's another desire. Why Hashem created desire in this world? The desire for the food, which is bad. We're not saying desire. A person should have a desire, but have a limit. Second desire, it's a good desire for mitzvot with Torah. K'mo shenemar, ta'avat tzadikim ach tov. Like the Chazal says, the desire for the tzadikim, it's only good. וכן אמר דוד, השם נגדך, כל תאוותי. Hashem, David HaMelech asking Hashem, all the desires should be towards you. וכן אמרה, אוהב מצווה לא ישבע מצוות. Somebody love mitzvot would never be satisfied with mitzvot. כי חכם לב ייקח מצוות. If a person is smart, he's going to only grab mitzvot. כמו במדרש Chazal says in מסכת סוטאים, page 13. תנו רבנן, בורא כמה חביבות מצוות על משה רבנו. He says, come and learn from Moshe Rabbeinu how much the mitzvot was important. שכל ישראל עסקו בביזת כסף וזהב. הקדוש ברוך הוא says, like it said מסכת ברכות, הקדוש ברוך הוא says, I'm going to bring the Egyptians by the sea, by the Red Sea, Kriyat Yamsuf, and you're going to take all the kesef v'zahav. Second thing, Moshe Rabbeinu says we're leaving, and each Jewish person gets up and he asks from Egyptian money and gold and silver. everybody is busy with gold and silver. What Moshe Rabbeinu is busy with? Getting the grave of Yosef. V'chi ata Moshe Rabbeinu, and we are Moshe Rabbeinu. We cannot compare ourselves to Moshe Rabbeinu, first of all. How the Chazal compares to the Moshe Rabbeinu? We're not Moshe. I'm not Moshe Rabbeinu. None of us is sitting here is Moshe Rabbeinu. Nachon? Yes or no? Yes. So how can we compare? How the Chazal could compare something? It's impossible to compare. So I saw something in the Chilchot Shuvah. We had a Motzei Shabbat. They asked me a question. Oto ve'et beno, which means Mishnah Hey, in a Perek Hey, in a Masechet Chulin. It says over there that you cannot shech the ima, the mother, and a cow the same day. Okay. It's a big machloket, what's considered the same day. The day starts from the night, the morning. And we go back and forth, and I told him, I just read Rav Shach from Rav Eliezer Gershon. He says 3 things you could be learning Torah from. From your Rebbe, from your students, or from your Chavruta. 3 ways. But if you're learning by yourself, you're not learning. And he says, well, are you a Rav Shach? I said, no, but I could be like Moshe Rabbeinu. And he says, show it to me. So I thought it was in a Chilchot Deot, but it's in a Chilchot Shuvot. We, each one of us, we have potential not to be like Rav Shach, not like Ariya Kadosh, not like Arashash, not like Ora. Ke Moshe Rabbeinu, he says. Chilchot Shuvah in the Rambam says, we could be like Moshe Rabbeinu. Who puts a limit? We are. So each one of us, and he got shocked. When I showed him this, and he says we could be like Moshe Rabbeinu. So how can over here, when we're in Egypt, Moshe Rabbeinu goes and he takes all the grave of the Yosef HaTzadik, and the whole Am Israel is busy getting money. Same thing is over here. Don't forget, rabbis. We sitting at a Bet HaMidrash or Bet HaKnesset. Where we're running, it's okay. We need to have a parnasa. We must have a parnasa. What? 1 minute. We have also, according to the Rambam, according to the Halacha, we have also to have obligation to get paid and go work and to have salary so we don't steal. It's a mitzvah seder oraita to bring a food to the house. But how long we do this for? We're forgetting the shiur, we're forgetting the tefillah, we're forgetting a lot of stuff. Because we make an excuse, justification, that right here I have to feed my family. So what does it mean? He's gone with his family. But when he comes to the yeshua, vacation on a birthday, he doesn't have to feed his family. He goes with the simcha, he goes with the happiness. Right? So why not use the same excuse? You know it's an excuse, and it's not a valid excuse. הוא מתעסק במצווה, שנאמר ויקח משה את צמות יוסף עמו. He says the Moshe Rabbeinu is busy with the mitzvah. The whole Jewish nation is busy, even though you said he was commanding them. Yes, he was commanding them to take because that was the promise to Avraham Avinu. But they did it 24 hours or they did it up to 8 hours? That's the question you need to ask. They go collect it from the Egyptian. Oh, they say, okay, Egyptian is giving me. Why am I not keep busy in getting it? Sarach bat Asher nishtara me'oto ador. Sarach bat Asher, some say 250 years lived, some say she was 400 years lived. Because she gives a basura tova. She gives a good news. Halach Moshe atzla. Moshe Rabbeinu came into Sarach bat Asher. Vashal ota klum yadate yechan kesef Yosef kavur. He's asking you, where's the Yosef kavur? You know, Sarach bat Asher, she was the Asher's daughter. That means already the Shivatim passed away. It's already a couple generation downs. Amala aron shel matechet asulo mitzrim. She said the Egyptian did the grave of the casket of Moshe Rabbeinu, of the Yosef, made it from the metal. Kavu b'nahar Nilus. He says they were not buried. They dropped them in the Nilus, Nile River. Kidei sheitbaruchu miyam. Why? Because Yosef HaTzadik brought the flourish and a blessing to the Egyptians. Because they put inside the casket, it says the zchut of Yosef, this casket was gonna, because he even passed away, the water is gonna be blessed. Okay? Valach Moshe v'amad sefat Nilus. Moshe came to the Nile River. V'amar Yosef, Yosef, and he says Yosef, Yosef. Kvar hagia et shenishba HaKadosh Baruch Hu shehu goel et Israel. Says HaKadosh Baruch Hu promised, and he did an oath that the Jewish people is supposed to be redeemed. ואתה שבאת את ישראל לומר פקוד יפקוד אלוקים אתכם ועליתם את עצמותי מזה אתכם. He says, you promise and you told the Jewish nation, when the Jewish nation is going to be redeemed, please take me from the Egypt. אתה מראה את עצמך ועולה מטוב. He says, come, if you're going to uplift yourself. ולא מנוקים אני משפטיך, מיד צו ארונו של יוסף. All of a sudden, the casket made from the casket made from the meadow came out. So look what it says. Grave something else, casket is something. Grave, that means you bury in the ground. Casket, which just means you drop it. Okay, ואל תטמע איך ברזל צף. So he's asking a question. How the meadow able to flow up? How Moshe Rabbeinu able to do that? הרי כתוב במלאכים ואחד הפיל הקורע את הברזל נפל אל המים ויצעק. It says one of the persons in the time of the Malachim, what he did, he threw the meadow inside the water and the meadow starts screaming. Hey, Adoni, who shoel? Vayamar Isha Elokim ani nafal. He says, Ana nafal. He says, hey, my master, what are you doing? Why are you throwing me in the water? Vayira et hamakom veikzav etz veishlach shema yitzav habarzel. So the guy who threw the meadow, he threw what? A wooden piece. So the meadow will be attached to the wood, and it will come to the what? To the shore. That was not in the time of Moshe Rabbeinu. Ma Elisha Talmid Eliyahu. Elisha was the Talmid of Eliyahu Hanavi, the student, disciple. Ve'Eliyahu Talmidav shel Moshe. And Eliyahu is the student of Moshe. Tzav barzel mipanav mipnei Moshe Rabbeinu al chad kama kama. If the Eliyahu Hanavi, Elisha from the wooden stake could do tchiyat ametim, which means resurrecting dead people, or from the metal that could do anything. If Elisha is the student of Eliyahu and Eliyahu the student of Moshe, there's no difficulty by Moshe. So we all the time say, how can they do this? How? If the Eliyahu Hanavi could do, if Elisha can do, Moshe Rabbeinu, Kal v'chomer, which means that if the disciples, the student could do, the Rebbe cannot do. So there's no difficulty. How's the Yosef HaTzadik, his casket, able to lift it up? So it says over here, Hakavod, Aridifa echad kavod v'srara. Now the second part will come in, kavod, respect, honor. Mizeh melech hakavod. We're all running for honor. No, I'm not running for honor. We're going to say how we're running for honor. If we all the time fighting, that means we're running for honor. No, why not? Why not? No, I'm teaching a lesson. Yeah, that's an honor. Okay? Congestion prices in New York City, Trump put himself as a king. All of a sudden, the Choko governor says, you're not a king. Says, I am a king. Okay? So, honor is it's a big problem. And it's a big problem. People get depressed because of honor. People have no life because of honor. We go to weddings. How come you didn't honor me? Oh, the fight starts. He sleeps with it. He wakes up with it. I'm going to do the same thing, revenge to it. Honor is very dangerous. I never understood what an honor is. It's very, very dangerous because you keep eating yourself. Self-eating motivation. So what are you saying? You should not have honor? Let's see. So it says here, he's rounding after honor and he wants to be always in the top. Srara, which just means in a control and power. He will lose the share in the world to come and lose in this world also. Masech Pesachim in page 87. Amar Rabbi Yochanan, oy lo l'rabanut shekeveret et ba'aleha. He says, oy to these rabbis. Oh, rabbis, let's speak about the rabbis, right? That's the topic. It's very sweet. Out of all the people in the world, they need to take, out of 8 billion people. He says, if a rabbi, he wants to be always on top and he wants to always be chief and everything like that, of course you need to have leaders. But there's a leader, self-appointed leaders. We're going to see who is the self-appointed leaders in the previous generations. שאין לך כל נביאה ונביא שלא קיפח 4 מלאכים בימיו. So it says 4 kings would die because of the honor. פירש רש"י כי קבר 4 מלאכים בימיו, שאריך ימיו יותר מהם, שעל ידי שהם מתנשים ברבנות הם מתים. So because they were running for the honor, and Chacham ben Zion Abu Shaul, when Chacham Avadia became chief rabbi of Israel, he was very afraid. Everybody thought he was jealous. So he was afraid that he would die in a young age. Because if somebody takes a throne and is not worth it, he's definitely going to die young. שנאמר חזן ישעיהו בן אמוץ, בימי עזיהו יותם, אחז חזקיהו מלכי יהודה, whatever the kings we just called. והן אמרי בהושע, בגמרא ברכות, אמר רבי, מסכת ברכות says in page 55, אמר רבי חמא ברבי חנינא, מפני מה מת יוסף קודם לאחיו? Why did Yosef die in age 110? Everybody died much longer. Why? He's one of the youngest. Binyamin is the youngest, then Yosef. Why did he die early? מפני נהג עצמו ברבנות. He took and he wanted to be in a power. Excuse me, 80 years he was feeding the Egypt, the whole world. So many zchuyot he has, did not help him. Huh? Born to lead. But there was a born to lead was Yehuda. Reuben, the firstborns. Yes. So why they not talking about the way you talking? He says, Ta'avas rara kavod. So he says Yosef died at age 110. The reason is because he put himself in a position of to be in power. Okay? Yes, you said each tribe is born to be in a but he has a Reuben, he has a Yehuda, he has all the brothers. Okay? Were not all the brothers were not thinking. They were so in a high level also. Tava, desire, Visrara, control, power, V'kavod, respect, honor. Garma leRevam ben Navad she'ya nitrad min ha'olam haba. Yerevam ben Navad, like the Gemara says in Masechet Sanhedrin, has no share in the world to come. Why is that? He was a king. He was not a simple king. Okay, don't make mistake. Shenemru b'Sanhedrin, Sanhedrin says in page 101, Amar Rabbi Nachman, Gasud ruach she'ayta b'Yerevam tarud min ha'olam. Says he has too much pride. That's why he lost his share in the world to come. Shenemar vayomer Yerevam, Malachim 1, 12, 26. And Yerevam says, Belibo, in his heart. V'ata toshev mamlacha lebet David, ki b'motzei shanat hashmita ha'ita nohag mitzvat kahal. He said it in his heart, in the Motzei Shvi'it, which means in the Shemitah year, they gather everybody and they read the Sefer Torah in front of the congregation. Like it says in the Masechet Sotah in page 41. במוצאי שביעית שהיו עושים בהסדרה של בית המקדש. Inside the בית המקדש, they were reading the ספר תורה. בימי של העץ והמלך יושב עליך, מביאים על ספר תורה ויקרא משנת תורה. So they're reading the ספר דברים inside the בית המקדש. עם פרשת המלך, ויאמר ליבם בליבו, ביות שילקה, הלכה משה מסיני, אין ישיבה בהסדרה אלא מלאכת בית דוד בלבד. He knew the halacha. The only person, the only people that are allowed to sit inside the בית המקדש, in לשכת הגזית, only the king, rulers, from the descendants of David HaMelech. And he did not descendants of David HaMelech. But anyways, he was sitting. Anyways, even he knew the halacha. כל העם את ערכיו, יש באמת מלך, וירבעם עומד, כאשר העם, ואומר, הנה זה מלך וזה עבדו. גם אני אשב, אדוני אתי כי מורד במלכות וירגני. Says, he went against the rule of the Torah. He sat, and is not allowed to sit. Sit. לכן נועד ציר העם ועשה שני עגלי זהב. That's why Rav did. Am Israel, if they did one golden calf, he did 2 golden calves in front of the Bet HaMikdash. 2. ויאמר לישראל לאו לכם מעלות ירושלים. He says, go to ירושלים. הנה אלוקיך ישראל אשר העלוך מארץ מצרים. He says, this is your God, the golden calves, who took you from the Egypt. ושים את האחד בבית אל ואת האחד נתן בדן. One in a בית אל ונתן בדן. So you're going to say, what, the people so stupid? So people so stupid, they're ignorant. It's all about speeches. How you're going to talk to draw the crowd. It's all about that, rabbis. Don't think how they're so stupid they're able to come down and bow down to the golden calf. It says black and white in the Torah, you should not do it. Because Yerevam ben Navad knew 103 pirushim in the Torah. That means how much he knew knowledge. That's right. Yes, 103 on each pasuk. 103. If 3 we know, we're so happy.
And nobody said no to it?
Obviously, right here.
The whole nation said yes.
Yes. He's the king. Not only that, because when you speak, you draw the population. And drawing the population is very easy. First of all, by money and by speech, how you speak. That's the way you do it. Anybody come to us, spoke so well, right? Right away, he's my rabbi, right away you run after him. You don't care what it is, how it is. You filterize, no filterize. So it says here, says following. Natan, ועוד אמרו חז"ל, מסכת סנהדרין, חז"ל says, שאחר דבר זה לא שב ירם בדרכו רעה. He was continuing doing bad. אחר מאי, רבי אבא, אחר שתפס הקדוש ברוך הוא לירבעם בבגדו. What does it mean? Afterwards, he's continued doing bad. Akadosh Baruch Hu took by his clothes and said, following. B'chalom or b'marei nuvah. What does it mean? Yad Ramah says, is a Rishon. He says, what does it mean that he took him by his clothes? He says, came Akadosh Baruch Hu in a prophecy or in a dream to Yerevam ben Navad. Chazar b'tshuva. Hashem says to Yerevam ben Navad, do a tshuva. Repent. ואני ואתה בן ישי ניטל יחדיו בגן עדן. He says, you and David HaMelech together we're going to be in Gan Eden. Even after he did all the bad stuff. אמר לו ירבעם, מי בראש? Yerevam says, who is going to be in front? אמר לו בן ישי בראש. He says, David HaMelech going to be in the front. Who cares who's going to be in the front? Who cares? He cared. Im ken eno rotze lashuv. He says, if this is the case, I don't want to do tshuva. No, it's not sickness, it's us. It's not sickness, it's us. How much we are self-motivated, self-pride. Okay? Yeah, of course you could say whatever the words you say. But when you come to this position, are you able to handle the test? בגלל שהיה לחוד אחר הכבוד, because he was running after the power and כבוד, respect. לא היה בראש נטרד מן העולם הבא, because he was not, who cares, it was in the beginning. The Chazal says the reason HaKadosh Baruch Hu, he would have gave it to him. The reason he did not give it to him, because he didn't go through suffering like David HaMelech. That's why HaKadosh Baruch Hu did not give it to him. He would have gave him. Yes, the Chazal says he would have gave it to him. The reason he didn't give it to him, because he didn't go through the pain and suffering the way David HaMelech went in his life. That's why he says he cannot be in a beginning, in the front. You get it? So that's why David HaMelech says in the Tehillim, all the pain and suffering in the world went through me. That means anybody in the world, chutz mi David HaMelech, David says, anything and everything. And enemies in the house, enemies outside of the house. Who is the enemies inside? His son Avshalom. Wanted to kill him. Right? Enemies from outside, Achitophel wanted what to do? Plow to all the time. Wanted to run, chase after him. So he says, because he didn't go through that, I cannot. You're not going to be in the front. אף על פי שהקדוש ברוך הוא חייך על נביא להחזיר בתשובה, even though הקדוש ברוך הוא sent many prophets to him to come תשובה, נתן כתב שרוד וסירב לחזור בתשובה. What he said, he showed his back to him, to הקדוש ברוך הוא. He does not want to do תשובה. ותחת אשר היה גדול מאוד, he says he was so big in the Torah, לא היה בתורה שום דופי. He knew every answer in the Torah. היה שונה 130 פנים בתורה, he says 130 ways he would understand the Torah. עושה לו עגל, גימטריה מלך. He says עגל, גימטריה, numerical value, עגל, the golden calf, 103. חטא מחטיא את רבים בגלל הרדיפת כבוד. He made a sin, made other sin for run after his honor. Like it says מעם לא יעז, כתב שעליו נאמר, ויש בכם איש אשר לבבו פנה היום מעם השם אלוקינו. יתברך בבנו, שלום יהיה, לא אהבה לי, יסלח השם לו. כי אלו ימחה את השם את שם מתחת השמיים, שגם מעשים רעים לגלות 10 שבטים. ועד ביתו נגזרה כלייה. He says, because of him, the 10 tribes went to the exile, and because of him, his whole house got destroyed. So we see, kavod, it's not what we're thinking, I'm a king, oh, I need to have an honor, because the king needs to have an honor. But needs to be gvulot. Gvulot, which just means limits. Hashem made him a king. So, we talked about the kingship. We talked about we want to be kings in a house. We want to be rulers in a house. We want to be rulers in a Bet Knesset, Bet HaMidrash, in work. That comes from everything kavod. שיר רצון, thank you for coming, שהקדוש ברוך הוא ימלא כל מי שלא לביתכם לטובה ולברכה, וכן יהי רצון ונאמר אמן.